people who judge without knowing, just throw the peace on, tell them good vibes only, yeah. They were hating, but we didn't even notice, cause we're on them good vibes only, yeah. The shit gets wavy.
Everybody, and welcome to the Shine Your Light Network. My name is Robin Nicole, and I'm the host of the Shine Your Light Network. And today, I decided to come on. We're doing an impromptu show today, and today's show is going to be a little bit different from the other shows that I've been doing. And I'm doing a roundtable discussion with two people, and we're going to be talking about we are the all. You are me, and I am you. In the end, we all came from the same place, the universe of consciousness. And so, without any further ado, I'm going to bring on the two ladies for the roundtable discussion. We have Jessica Johnson and Bonnie Bird. So, I'm going to bring Jessica on right now. Hi, Jessica. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. Welcome to the Shine Your Light Network. And we'll bring on Bonnie Bird. Hi, Bonnie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Welcome to the Shine Your Light Network. Bonnie's been on a million times. Okay, so we decided that we would get together and have a little discussion. And so this is different than most of my shows, because most of my shows are, Shine Your Light Network, and we're all about like promoting people that are shining their light and all this kind of stuff. But today we decided that it would be nice to go into a little bit more of a deep discussion. And today's discussion, we decided together it would be an awesome thing to talk about unity consciousness and about how like we are all like really come from the same place, because there's a lot of people out there that we have this big romance about like star seeds, and we all like want to know where we came from and what planet are we from and our origin and everything. And so we thought maybe we'd come on and just kind of like talk about this topic and maybe debunk a little bit, because like I've been learning a lot of things through quantum physics, and I've learned a lot of things, and my belief system has changed so much in the last like few years. And I have this like, now I have a knowledge that like we are all coming from the same place, and it's the source, like the creator. We come from the one thing, and then we're fragmented out, and then we all end up being like pieces of like fragments everywhere. And so we're the earth, we are everything. We're the sand, we're the trees, we're the rocks, we're the whole, we're the water, we're people, we're humans, and we're also like everything that's out there, that's in the world and the universe and beyond, and that we also are aspects of ourselves are in other places, in other galaxies, in other universes. And so we want to discuss the topic today. And so you can take what we say and you can go with it, and if it resonates with you, that's great. If it doesn't resonate with you, just let it go away, and let's just fall. If it's something that you really don't believe in and everything, this is just our truth. The three of us, this is our truth about things, and we're not here to tell you how you need to believe. And I just wanted to say that before we get going. We all have our own belief systems, and I guess that's take it or leave it. I guess I don't know how to say that. What do you think? Anybody else have a better way of saying what I just said?
Well, in the fifth dimension, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bonnie.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
In the fifth dimension, we learn about universal love. We learn to love everyone where they're at, as well as, you know, the difference between wisdom. Wisdom is not just knowing things, okay? It's about understanding things. It's about understanding ourselves. And when everyone has a piece of the truth, everyone has their different perspectives and what they wish to believe and everything else. And the whole aspect of it is for us all to come together and share those pieces, because each one of those pieces fit a bit much bigger puzzle. And so every one of us has that aspect of each other. It's not saying that this person over here is lying or that person is being manipulative and dishonest. That's saying that we all have pieces of the truth in our different perspectives. So when you get a professor that says, okay, this is the truth, this is what I want you to believe, that's the wrong way to go about it. A wise person would actually ask, what is your perspective? How do you feel about this? And what is your perspective about that? Because each one of us have a different perspective, and it is our truth. And it just like whoever believes in whatever is their truth. And it's the fact that when we come together is when we fit those little pieces of the jigsaw puzzle of life together, and we actually see the whole truth through each other. That's what I got to say about that.
Bonnie, what do you have to say about it?
I just feel that people know their truth in their heart. If it resonates with their heart, then it feels like a remembrance. It's not like somebody's actually telling you something. You already know it. And so you know right away, okay, this is for me. This is a truth that's with me. But, you know, immediately when you get something that doesn't resonate with you, and even after contemplating on it, it still doesn't sit right within you, and you know, you just chuck it away, you know, just throw it out, because it's just not for you, because everybody has a different template. Everybody has a different way that they're made up, and
we all have a different filter. We all see through the different filters.
Right. So if it doesn't work for you, then it's okay. There's a million other different ways to see it, and you don't have to see it the way that I see it, because in all reality, nobody can see the same thing in the same way because of all of our filters and everything and all the different lifetimes we've been through. So that's okay. It's okay to be you. You be you, and I'll be me.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So we thought we'll just come in and talk about this, and I don't have a lot of technical jive in me. Like, I'm not good about talking about this. Jessica is really awesome about like going through. She's like an expert on quantum mechanics, and she can sit here and she can kind of like dissect it. And I don't know how she remembers and says everything in order. So I think maybe we get started with Jessica and have you start this discussion on like the direction, and then Bonnie and I will probably just be kind of like, yeah.
Well, let's start it out with, you know, the dimensions are not separate from each other. Okay, everybody wants to say, well, it's this level, that level. They all merge, kind of like our chakras merge, right? They merge with one another. And it's kind of like that. It just gives us an identification of to what level, each level, like an onion. Think of it as going to school, and you're going to first grade and you're about to graduate to second grade, and you have to learn every aspect of first grade, right, before you can go and graduate to second. So that's basically how dimensions work. We have to learn every aspect of that dimension before we can go forth, and it's not going to happen in one lifetime. For those that feel or think that it's going to, it's not. Sometimes it takes about 2,400 years theoretically to go into that next level. And because you have to learn every aspect. Sometimes you're the good guy, sometimes you're not the good guy, you know, and that's how we evolve as souls, is that we have to learn each aspect of that dimension. And so the first dimension is basically the universe consciousness, which, you know, many of us would refer to as God or creator or source. It's all consciousness, and that's what these dimensions are, is within consciousness. So the first consciousness shows us of unity. That's when the universe takes itself and it tries to get to know itself. It's the expression. It's expressing itself into the reality, as if you will. So it's God trying to, or the universe consciousness trying to get to know itself. And then we go into the second dimension, which is the polarity of light and dark. And so it's basically it starting to emerge itself to understand the different aspects and everything else of itself. And we all want to sit there and say, oh, the dark is bad, the light, but it's not even like that at all. Okay. The darkness, you can't see the light unless you have the darkness, and you can't see the darkness unless you have the light. So it's basically something that, it balls. Think of it, your balls right here, and you got the light and the dark, and it revolves around. It does a dance with each other. And so there's harmonious aspects of it. Then you go into the third dimension of the matrix of what humans are, and it's learning to experiment and to integrate that experiment. It's kind of tinkering with this and that within that reality to see what works and what you can integrate and everything else. And it's another way for us to get to know ourselves as souls, so we can evolve and learning the different aspects of that experience. The universe doesn't care what you know. It wants you to understand and put that in action. It wants you to experiment. It wants you to be able to get to know the different things, because we can know things all day long, but we have to understand it. And that's where we have to go with that. And then with the fourth dimension, which is a dimension that many people will be going on, the fourth and fifth dimension, it's basically polarity again in the fourth dimension. It's learning the different aspects of time and space. That's basically every dimension has a theme. And for the fourth dimension, it's learning about time and space, because they don't exist in a linear sense that we're used to. And have you ever noticed that on Earth right now, time is speeding up to where it's becoming pretty much non-existent, and it's going to continue to do so. To where it's like, I remember 2 days ago it did happen, it did exist, but here we are, it's already Thursday. So basically, time is just speeding off, because time and space doesn't, basically it merges. It's not in the linear aspects. Go ahead.
I've noticed that I would be like, what is today? I'd have to go find the calendar to figure out the day. It's just
not just that. Even in the day, I have to remind myself, what is today? I can't remember even if I know I'm in the day.
You would know. You would know.
Yeah. It's so bad that I actually literally have to put an alarm on for everything.
Me too.
And I'd be cooking something and I'll forget that I'm cooking it, and it's burning in the oven. Very bad. My husband says I'm getting Alzheimer's, but I don't think that's what it is.
Well, if you're going through Alzheimer's, then it's happening on a global scale, because everybody's going through it. Think of also the fourth dimension as it has four elements. It has expression, experimentation, integration, and transcendence. Okay, so, and we see that all the time within the third dimension when it comes to the seasons. When we got winter, fall, spring, and summer, right? We see that all the time. Everything happens within those four expression, expression, experimentation, integration, and transcendence. So basically, every dimension has a theme. Then we have the fifth dimension, which is unconditional love. You cannot go into the fifth dimension if you have baggage of things that you have not dealt with, because in the fifth dimension there is there's absolutely no judgment. Okay, you love people as a whole. You love people where they're at. It's unconditional love. A lot of people think that unconditional love is loving somebody, like I love you, Bonnie, but it's actually just being awareness. That's what unconditional love, it's awareness. And those who, experience and hate, they don't hate just because they have nothing better else to do. They hate because it was absence of love. It's, it's not so much of an opposite, but it's the fact of not having that. So basically also the fifth dimension is that to get to the fifth dimension is to go through the heart. The heart is everything. The heart is key. It creates a portal to where we can go into the fifth dimension and to basically kind of sightsee, if you will. But it's one of my favorite dimensions I like to astral travel to. And it's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And
I'm gonna stop you there for a second. I've actually been learning that as well. Like I had a session. Oh God, it was before the COVID and everything started. I had a QHHT session, and we went into my healing chamber, and all of a sudden I was trying to learn how to astral travel with my Merkaba while I was awake. And that was one of the steps that they were showing me inside there, was going into the heart space. When you go into the heart space, then you can get your traveling device to work. And it starts working. And then as soon as you're in the heart space and then you think about the place that you want to go, then you're there.
Yes, that's the doorway. That's the doorway to go into the other dimensions, is through the heart. When you have your heart completely open to where there's no judgment, there's no, you're not allowing them, your emotions to dominate you and dictate your life and your reality. And you actually just let go and you allow that heart to be completely open, you're able to travel within it. Basically, you could travel to these dimensions just being in one place. That's the beautiful thing about it. And, and the thing is that, so one of the examples that I used when I talked about the fifth dimension is the war about World War II. Okay, that was one of the most devastating wars that we had, right? And a lot of people sit there and look at it in a one-point aspect about that war. But see, in fifth dimensional consciousness, they have a different aspect. What it is that, yes, it was a war, but they needed to bring humanity into integration. And we only had 50 years to do that. And in any other way, it would take 200 years to get to that point, because at that time, Earth was very dense in negative energy. So they had only 50 years to bring us into the integration part of consciousness. So the war came out, they sent people in to try to bring in unity, the love of unity and freedom. And that's when, after the war, if you don't remember, if some of us will remember, that's when the UN started. That's when human rights were started. That's things that we didn't have before. So in order to bring us in there, they had a crisis had to happen. So that when that crisis happened, that's when people started to come together, and we had unity and the love of freedom, and things that we didn't have before were brought forth into our reality. So, basically what we may think, the fifth dimensional entities have a different perspective and a different outlook in how things are. And that's why I like to use that example about World War II, because if you see all the crises that we have now happening in our lives, we have to ask ourselves, exactly what are we to come from as a human species from this crisis? And we've had many of these crises, the things in China, the things in Egypt, the things in many different parts of the world, and as well as what's playing now. So look at yourself and look around you. What is happening now? What is this supposed to bring us now? It's supposed to bring us together, because lately we have not been, right? And to basically, take pride into the things that we have let basically fester, and to correct the things that have not been good for the greater whole, and to change our world. How would we want to change that? That's what we got to look at, the situation that's happening now. Not, oh my God, this isn't happening, that happening. But what can we do as a human species to change our world? Are we just going to let things be as they are currently or is it going to push us to want to change that?
And I think that because the fact that really and truly we are all one, we're all from the same place, we all have come from the same place, so we really are all one.
Yes, we
That
are.
maybe if we realize that we're all one, then maybe people would stop with this, like, I don't like you because you're voting for this person. Like, come on, guys. Let's have some compassion for each other and look at the other person as if they're you and you are me.
And that's the theme of it, really.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, we had a lot of division within our culture and everything else. And then we had these protests and everything. It's basically throwing it in our face that, look, here is the problem. You're either going to fix it or you're not. You know, that we can't allow ourselves to be divided. We have allowed that to happen for so long. So now it's time to change that. You know, that it doesn't matter what color, what creed, or where you came from. We are all one. And because of the fact that we looked at ourselves as separate entities from the world around us, the plants, the animals, and everything else, that we forget that we're all one, that there is no separation between any of that. And if we were to realize that, then we wouldn't be doing all the stuff that we had been doing for years. So think of it as our world changing into a transcendence.
Well, kind of going back to what you were saying, Jessica, about you know, catapulting and you know, events happening to create the opposite. You know what I mean? So like there might be there might be a storm or something where people are devastated, but then what happens afterwards is the people pull together and they all come together in love and they start helping each other. So the higher perspective of that is that they're seeing that this has to happen, which is not so good, in order to bring the energy rise, you know, to raise the energy to bring it to another level. So we're going to see huge earth disasters, and you're going to see things play out in politics. You're gonna see the underbelly of things coming up to the light, because it's all got to be transmuted in some way and somehow. And you also have to remember that we all contracted to play these parts. We're all one, even though this guy's playing the villain and he's doing all this horrible stuff. But he chose in the contract to do that.
Yeah.
So, you know, looking at the bigger picture, bringing yourself above it all, it's pretty amazing puzzle and a game that they're playing in order to get it to where it needs to be.
Exactly.
And sometimes the person that is triggering you the most is the person that came down and volunteered to trigger you so that you could heal a core wound or something like that. And so they're actually a part of you. They're an aspect of you, and they're just showing you what it is you need to look at. And so this is just like so confusing, because you are me and I am you, and we're all sitting here in the room. We're different people. We're all like singly, yes, you're Jessica, you're Bonnie, I'm Robin. But like,
we're expressions of each other.
Yeah. Can we go into the topic about how people love the whole starseed thing? And this is a big popular thing that's been going on for a few years now. And I even myself got hooked into the where am I from? What planet am I originated from?
We all have.
And I fixated on it. And it's like a fixation. It's like we want to be from a place that has like something really magical happening, so we can say like we are part of that, and we're not part of the baddies. You know, we're from the goodies, and we're not part of the baddies. And but when really we actually are all of the all. And so we have a discussion around this about how it really doesn't actually really matter in the end of the day, because we are all one.
It doesn't. It doesn't. And it actually, to be honest, we all got into that whole group.
I did.
When we first started.
I still do sometimes.
Yeah, when we first started to ascend, we did, but at the same time, as spiritual entities, sometimes we identify more as masculine and feminine, but we also wind up identifying to like our favorite being of what we were, but to be all honest with you, we wore many suits, okay, and walked many realities. Just like right now, we're walking the suit of being a human and walking the reality of Earth, okay? But we're all expressions of her. We're not like separate from her. We're all a part of her, just like we're all a part of ourselves, and just like we are all a part of the other species. There's many of us that did a lot of star jumping, that we lived in many different planets, and that we had walked and wore that suit for that reality of what we walked. So it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. You are a light being. I'm a light being. We are all as one, and within the collective. And so it really doesn't matter where your soul originated. It's it's curious to know. It's great to know. It kind of gives us a sense of getting to know ourselves and where we've been, kind of like a suitcase with a bunch of stickers. I was in Wisconsin, I was in here, there, but the thing at the end of the day is that we get so wound up in that we forget about what we're supposed to do.
Forget about the mission that we came here to do.
They're distractions, really. And plus it winds up bringing out a part of our ego into the forefront of saying, I was this and I was a part of the galactic blah, 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 blah. But the thing is that, like I try to say, a lot of people try to put things in cute little boxes with cute little tags, and they try to say that these species are negative, these are positive, and this and that and the other. Well, wouldn't it be fair to say that all humans are violent creatures and everything? If you were to say the same thing about that, right? That would be untrue. That'd be ludicrous to say that, right? Mm-hmm. Well, they're the same way. They have their own independent mind of what they choose to travel. It does not mean that one specific species as a whole is negative. I have met many other species who were not, that had a bad rap. So the thing is that we can't get stuck in that ego and putting tags and putting things in cute little boxes. Okay, that's all a distraction.
I had a message come through. I do a lot of automatic writing, and I had a message come through. I don't know what it was about a month ago around this topic, and they said, Robin, you like to compartmentalize and put. You're human. You're living in a linear body. You're living in a linear world, and for you to make yourself understand it, you like to put everything into a compartment, into a box, and it makes it easier for you to understand. Right. And then they were just telling me it's okay because you're human and this is the way it is. But they wanted me to know that I am everything. I'm the all. And this whole you are the all. There was a whole I think I wrote down like 3 pages of you are the all. And then at the end it said, now that you know and you realize that you are the all, now you need to start have more compassion for each other. Yeah. For the people that you look into their eyes and they might not resonate with you, or they might be doing something totally opposite as you, and just have a little bit of compassion for them because they're actually you. And you are, and ever since then, I've been kind of this has been rolling around in my head, and I've been trying not, I haven't been fixating so much on where is this coming from, the information, and what star system what was I when I was a Lemurian, and all this kind of stuff like that. Right. It just doesn't really matter. I was, and I lived all those different times, and I'm still living in, because there is no concept of time. There's no time, really. We are the only ones that have a thing called time, and
time and space. Yeah.
It really kind of boggles my mind, because I think to myself, there's different times on the earth, and how can that all be happening at once? Is
It
like,
can.
how does like Little House on the Prairie be going on at the same time as us? I just don't. I have a hard time getting my head around that. It's a little.
Well,
It is hard.
let me try to clarify in regards to how that happens. With the fourth dimension is time and space, right? That's the theme of the aspect of the fourth dimension. It's also the basis of a like pyramid, because if you look at you know sacred geometry and everything, it has the base of the pyramid. Then the fifth dimension is, of course, the the top. It has nothing to do with the all-seeing eye of the Illuminati guys. It has everything to do with the fact that we can see all, and we're a part of all. It all surrounds us, and it does. It happens simultaneously. And same thing with the fourth dimension. Things happen simultaneously. If you think it, you're going to be there. Okay, so with us in the third dimension, if we want to go to Mars, we have to get on a ship and move our body to that place. Okay, in the fourth dimension, it happens and it's instantaneously. Yes, they do have a vessel, but if you look at how the engineering of the vessels that they travel in, that they get to be sitting there playing cards for 1 second and they're right there where they needed to be.
And don't they move their ships with their
mind. It's
with
all
their mind. It's all
Yep.
consciousness, and it's not. And yeah, keep going.
And then even their vessels are living entities. Yes, they've been engineered, but some of them are very organic and living. They have and they are actually living. Okay, they they can do things and everything else, but it's all moved by their conscious mind and everything. And a lot of scientists have they're trying to like figure out how to ingenuate it, to where they can actually fly it and everything. And they realized that, yes, they understood the mechanics and everything, that everything is crystallized and magnetism, but they also realized that everything could be controlled with their mind to be able to move that ship will actually move. You just think where you want to go and it'll actually go there. So, yeah, and the thing is that when you go to the higher dimensions, such as the fourth on up, you'll actually realize that time and space don't matter, that actually everything happens simultaneously and happens all at once. You could be here and be there at the same time and verse such. So, that's how it works. If that
It's so confusing. It's like mind blowing. I think Dolores Cannon talks about this. She has written a couple of books, Convoluted Universe, and all this kind of stuff she wrote about. And she would then say, "Don't worry about it, guys. It's just bubble gum for your mind. Like, don't try to we're humans, and it's really hard to get the concept because of our linear brain and the way that we work." And that it's nothing that we need to worry about, but it is happening.
Yeah, it's funny because when I start getting into conversations with people would be looking at me like I got 10 heads, and I'm going on and on and on and on, and they're like, "How can you understand this? How can you remember all this and everything else?" It's just like, it's there. I try to that's why when I go and do my YouTube videos and everything, I try to break it down as much as possible so that way people can understand and grasp the knowledge of what it's all about, because it helps grow your mind to know what's going on and to not get wrapped up into these things, these entanglements of wondering where our origin was, who we were, what we did, and this and that and the other, and putting things in cute little boxes that at the end of the day, we are all one. The species that are above us and everything else, we're among them. They're our family. Or, yes, they were at one time worshipped as gods and everything else, but they are a part of us and we're a part of them. They're just walking different suits in their own reality of where they're at.
Exactly. And the angelic realm's the same way, and so is the master realm. They're our family. They're us and we are them. And it just seems so simple, but then really, when you think about it, it's not.
And the whole level thing, the whole levels of we as humans, we think, oh, like we're always grasping for the higher level, the higher level. We think it's better to be on the higher level. And really, we're at the exact level, if you want to call it a level. Everybody, and there's no person that has anything better than the other person. And if they're vibrating at a higher speed, doesn't mean that they're better than the person that's vibrating at a lower speed.
Right. And it doesn't. But the thing is even though we're trying to grasp at the higher levels, we got to understand. We have to understand the lower levels to where we come from. We have to understand the first dimension, the second dimension, and the third dimension of where we're at now, the birth of the matrix, and so on and so forth, to really grasp the understanding. And nobody is better than one another. Some of us have learned things at a different level, but it doesn't mean we're better. That means we've surpassed the things that what we needed to learn on the lower level to become teachers and ascended masters on the upper level. Everybody becomes students at one time. Everybody becomes a teacher once they master it. So that's basically the concept. It's not about grasping. You got to learn to be the student first before you can become the teacher.
Right. And I mean, and you can read something over and over and over again, but until you actually make the action, make the connection, and cognize it in your consciousness, you really don't get it. And so the more you teach, the more you cognize, and the bigger the information gets, the more information you unlock. And so even because I'm a spiritual teacher, and it seems like, because spirit will work with you and they'll channel more information in the more room that you make for it. And so it's just really amazing to see the growth in yourself as a teacher.
It does. Amazing.
And then your students turn around, they teach you something that you didn't know about either. And so now they're the teachers. So we're all teachers in our own right.
That's the whole aspect. It's co-creation. Co-creation doesn't mean creating something, and just because you want a new car and house, okay, that's just creation. That's not co-creation. Co-creation is creating with everyone for the greater whole. It's creating within each other and grasping from one another and being able to all come up at once rather than just individually,
Exactly.
And that's what's so beautiful about it.
Yeah. And I mean, and I think that you are the most amazing part of being a teacher is when your student comes and brings you more information that you never heard of. And you're like, oh my God, that's so cool. And you sit down and you let them teach you. That's just, the most amazing thing in the world. Yeah. Yeah. And then you go to someone else and you teach them too. So I mean, that's what it's all about. And I think, as we're all learning and we're all trying to figure this out together. And as long as we have love and compassion for each other, we'll be okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the beautiful moment about it, is when you're actually learning from each other. That's what the whole universe wants. It wants us to merge together and get to know each other. All this separatism that our world has been experiencing is not the plan that the universe has for us. That's why it's bringing this crisis to our forefront, because it's saying, look, you guys have been practicing division for so long. It's time to understand the problem at where it's at, and for us to come together, and that each of us have something to make our world a better place. But we have to want it. We have to come together. And, so it's going to be interesting in these times and how it's happening, to see people come together. And unfortunately, in those situations, it takes a crisis to make that happen. If things were rainbows and sunshine and unicorn, we wouldn't understand what we have to take. We wouldn't have what's inside ourselves. We wouldn't know what's inside ourselves. Having chaos or crisis helps us understand what we actually have within us. And if things are rainbows and sunshine, we wouldn't see that. And as well as with the crisis, it helps us to see what the problem is so we can fix it, so we can come together as one. Fix it.
And you need to. Where I think what I'm being shown lately is, especially it's this word tolerance, like that we don't need necessarily to believe and have the same belief system as somebody else.
Right.
But we all have a right to our own belief systems, and we all have a right to speak about it. And we shouldn't be getting like alienating someone because they believe because they believe something. I mean, that is kind of what is going on in our world. There's a lack of tolerance.
Mm-hmm. And it's getting, unfortunately, it is getting, even more so than usual because of all this turbulence that's happening. People are still trying to figure things out, and everything else. And but the thing is that this time has been foretold by many different seers throughout history that there is going to be chaos. There is going to be a lot of different things that are going to be happening and it's for us to awaken and open our eyes to what is going on, and to and the universe to ask us that choice. You're either going to fix it or you're not going to fix it. But at the end of the day, it all has the same outcome. We either fix it or nature is going to take over and fix it and set the balance. So, either way, we either got to, so to speak, pull our head out of our rears, or the earth is going to do it for us.
And I think I was watching Amanda Ellis the other day, and she just had a talk right about this, and she said that she said the same thing. She said Mother Earth wants to take us with her,
Mm-hmm.
but she's not having it anymore. And so like she wants us humans to like all go and move with her.
Mm-hmm.
But she's not just going to just tolerate what's going on anymore. Like, yeah. It's not going to be allowed.
No, it's not. She woke up in 2007, Gaia did. And basically this has been, she woke up, looked around going, what the heck just happened, and everything, and sees everything that's happening. And basically she has basically made it abundantly clear that we're either going to raise our vibrations and change with her,
or she's going to shake us off.
Or she's going to shake us off. That's just how it is. And, that's why that these times right now are so important. And why most of us who have been connected for quite some time our training is now over, guys. It's now over. It's now, this is what we've been waiting for. This is what we've been preparing for most of our lives, is right here and now. The training is over.
Yeah, I know.
The training wheels have been taken off.
It's exciting. I mean, you see all the upset around you, but then when you really realize what's happening, you think, wow, this is really happening. Wow, it's really exciting. And just do your part, be kind, be good to yourself, build your light, build your energy, hold the space so that others can awaken. That's all.
And we're all not meant to do the same jobs either. Like, and kind of go with your strengths and what feels right inside. We're not all meant to fight the war. We're not we're not all meant to be the saviors. I guess we all have different jobs and different missions that we came here on, but at the end of the day, it's all for it's all going to be end up for the good. But like, don't feel like you have to, if something doesn't feel like it's meant for you to do, like, don't do it.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's like the analogy of, you don't see the doctor going over to the plumber and telling him how to fix the kitchen sink. So, we all have our part that we have to do, and everything. And not all of us is meant to be truthers. Not all of us are meant to fight, in the front lines and everything else. Not all of us, every one of us, we have right now in this time frame, a lot of people have already got like the download or now acknowledgement of what they're supposed to do. Okay. And that was something I had to learn myself, because I would get frustrated going, okay, well, this person is doing this. I want to, I want to do that too. You know what I'm saying? And I would get all frustrated, and then I would have my spirit guide saying, look, that's not your place. That's not what you're meant to do. This is what you're meant to do. Okay. Everybody has their place and what they're supposed to do. And that's what they're doing. So
like all these people, they're out doing all this like light language and it's all coming out so lovely, right? And then I'd be kind of like, how come I can't do that? But yet I'm creating these like other things with my artwork that they can't do. So like it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. We're not all meant to be like movie stars. We're not all meant to be like, we're not all meant to be scientists. We're not all meant to be like doctors, and we all have a spot. We all have whatever it is that makes our heart sing.
Absolutely.
And we need to just look inside and find out what is that.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, we get guided into certain things in our, in our life. And that brings me to like the sixth dimension. When I try to tell people that, believe it or not, whether people want to believe it or not, that the so-called angel and devil work together. Okay. Because let's say Timmy's over here, his angel was telling him to go this path. You need to go this path, and he's ignoring him. He's still sticking the fork in the outlet, and he thinks it's fun. He won't stop. And so, so his spirit guide goes to the dark entity or the dark, entity and says, look, Timmy is not listening to me. He keeps sticking the fork in the outlet. I keep telling him that he needs to go over here in this path because that's where he needs to, that's where his balance is. That's what he's supposed to do. But he keeps sticking that fork in the outlet. So the dark entity goes, I got you. So he goes and he sits there, and Timmy's driving down the road, and he winds up, unfortunately, having a car accident. He didn't die or anything. He just had gotten injured. But it gave him that time to start thinking about where his life was and what he needed to stop doing and where he needed to be. But the thing is that people they want to realize, or they want to think that the light and the dark are two separate things. They're not. They're not. They actually work together, so.
And that they are all light. Whether it's dark light or white light, they are all light.
Gray. It's called gray.
They're all a piece of the puzzle, and they all help move things around and rearrange things to where it helps you be on your path.
Absolutely. Like the sixth dimension, that's where the architects and the alchemists are. Okay. So the architects are the ones that build the things within our material density, into our material world, the structures that we can see, experience, and everything else. So us as souls can evolve. Okay. And the alchemists, they wind up, transforming that thing and mold things and everything else. And so the thing is that what they say is that the dark entity is the architect, okay? Because he's putting things, and he's fragmenting the light to create structures and shapes. So that way the spirit can evolve, because they have to find their way around this maze of mirrors, okay? And fragments. But when we actually start to realize that we are both light and dark, that's when all the disillusion stops. That's when we start to actually find ourselves, when we actually see that we're both. We're not just one or the other. We're both.
Well, really, I mean, anybody that even though they might show you, they want to show you the good side of them, their kind side, there's always a dark side. There's always a part of them that they don't really care about, because if they are practicing the light, they don't really care to let people see that part of them. But it's there. It's you're human. It's there.
We have a viewer. His name is Jonathan. He's having a little bit of a mess with us. He's having a joke with us. He puts down, back to we are all one, girls. And I put, yes, we have gone on a tangent. And he says, I'm enjoying it. And he puts a smiley face up. But anyways, we did kind of start to go off topic.
It happens. I mean, these deep subjects and everything, if you really look at it, it all kind of coincides with one another. We are all one. We're not separate from each other. Just like the light and dark is not separate from each other, from separate things, we are both, you
It's
know.
all connected. It's
We
all
are a mirror. We have a mirror.
Absolutely.
So, guys, I think that we did a really good job talking about this subject, and I think, do we have anything more to add before we end our conversation for today?
No,
Anybody
I
have
think we
anything?
pretty much covered a lot. Is there anything,
Yeah.
Bonnie, that that you would like to add?
No, I think you covered it pretty good. I mean, it's just all about letting things fall into place and realizing that there isn't a bad guy, there isn't a good guy. It's just all alchemy, and it all has to
Mm-hmm.
fall into place in order to make that bridge to where we're going.
Yep.
So you just have to be patient with yourself, be patient and kind and compassionate to others, and we'll get there. That's about
Great.
all I think of.
So I just want to do a little bit of advertising for you guys, or promoting you a little bit. So I just wanted to tell everybody, if you watched today and you really enjoyed the topic and you enjoyed what Jessica had to say in the topic, and you feel like you resonated with her, go over. She does a ton of work on her YouTube channel. It's called Vibe Talks, and she has a lot of content on there. The woman has so much going on in her brain, and she has a lot of information, a lot of stuff about quantum mechanics and spirituality, and she mixes it through, and she has a lot of knowledge and a lot of information on that subject. And if you're interested in learning a little bit more about what she has to say, please go and follow her YouTube channel. It's called Vibe Talks. And then Miss Bonnie, she has a list of everything. So if you want to find Bonnie, first of all, Bonnie, she is from the Sisters of Love and Light, and she also is, I guess, what do we call you? On the Hearts of Change.
Hearts Collective Change. I'm just one of the
Hosts.
co-hosts.
And then Bonnie has a new role that she's just come into. She's one of the team leaders in the New Earth Ascending community, and it's a Facebook group that I'm also involved in. There's 4 of us that are team leaders on there now, and we have an interactive group thing that's going on over there. And so if you're interested, you can find myself and you can find Bonnie over there. And then also Bonnie runs an online meditation every Tuesday from 6:30 to 8:30 Eastern. And if you're interested in going to her online meditations, just contact her by email at sistersofloveandlight@gmail.com, and she can let you know how to get the Zoom link and everything to go in and be part of her meditations. Her meditations are kind of different. She does at the beginning of her meditation, she does like a guided meditation type thing that she has been doing. And then she takes everybody that shows up and she puts them into breakout rooms, and they all get to play a little bit with is it Oracle decks?
Whatever they choose they could use runes, Oracle decks, they could use tarot, whatever they want to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So meditation, we open up our intuitive with the meditation. We do a good energy healing, and then afterwards we support each other. Just read each other with the cards in small groups.
Yeah, it's a little bit of fun, and it helps people get used to using the Oracle decks, and it's a little bit of fun. So, and she does that every Tuesday evening. So, just thought I'd let you know that. And so I think that's all of the announcements. That's like
And
the
I'll
boring
put my YouTube channel on the comments on this live, because being that I don't have like 12,000 people or so, it could be hard to find my channel. So I'll go ahead and put my link on there.
Yeah, and also just so because yeah, it's hard to get subscribers. I also have a Shine Your Light Network YouTube channel that I never tell anybody about, and I only have I think like 71 subscribers, and I've had it open. My husband laughs at me because I have more content on there than I do. I have more videos than I do have subscribers. He always laughs at me. And so I just keep putting them up because I've been guided. Just put them there, and then someday somebody will be able to go back and they'll be able to listen or whatever. And so I do have a YouTube page called Shine Your Light Network. If you want to go over and subscribe, everything that I put up here on Facebook and all the shows that I do are all over there on that page. So like if this thing kind of, like when we're doing this, this will kind of go down in the feed and you won't see it anymore. So if you think, oh, I haven't heard anything from Robin lately with the Shine Your Light, I'm wondering what if she has a show or whatever, go over to the YouTube page because it's all there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. These are my peeps.
Yeah. And then I have this like I'm not the what do you call it? Is it CEO? It's search engine optimization. I am not the search engine optimization woman. I figure I'll put the stuff there. If people see it, they see it. If they don't, they don't. I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm just doing what I'm told by my guide.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is a wrap for today. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation.
It was fun.
And I honor you all. And thank you so much for having me on here. And
we'll have you on again sometime, Jessica, on a different topic because you have so much that you talk about. So we'll have you on for something different coming in the future. And Bonnie, of course, we're always going to be on doing things. So you know that you can come back anytime you wish.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.